Welcome back to the Lagoon of Mystery for another Moment of Tiki. This is a really special episode because, here's our friend, the carpenter bee, coming on back. Carpenter bees have taken up residence in my cheap little palm tiki souvenir we got from Port Aransas a couple of years ago. And they come in here at nightfall and climb on up in there where they have their little nest made. And it's really kind of cool. I like them. They're not an aggressive species, so we get to keep them here in the lagoon. I also have some leafcutter bees that have taken up residence in the bamboo that make up the tiki shades over my lights. So, we're just all one with nature here in the Lagoon of Mystery. But back to my initial premise, I wanted to call attention to the fact that this is the 10th episode of A Moment of Tiki. That's right, we have moved up into double digits. And for someone who never even really thought that the first episode would get off the ground, much less get any viewers whatsoever, this is kind of a momentous occasion. So what I am doing tonight is a very special episode of The Moment of Tiki. We have our very first guest coming into the lagoon for an interview. Miss Something Blue, a burlesque performer from Austin, has come here to do a photo session with Secrets by Miss Lisa. And Blue was kind enough to hang around after the session was over for a little conversation, which I am now going to share with you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Blue is a fantastic person, and I think you're really gonna like this. So let's do it. Welcome to the first interview we've ever done in the Lagoon of Mystery. We have here with us tonight Something Blue, a performer with the Jigglewatts Burlesque Review out of Austin.
That's right.
Welcome to the Lagoon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Blue was here earlier today doing a photo shoot with Secrets by Miss Lisa. And so as she was already here, we invited her to come sit down and run through the gauntlet of hard-hitting journalist investigative reporting questions.
Gauntlet?
Yeah, gauntlet. So,
ooh, I should have prepared.
So let's start. Check my cheat sheet right quick. How'd you become involved with burlesque?
I became involved with burlesque by taking a class, actually. I had just graduated from college, and I had settled into a sedentary lifestyle behind a desk, and I was like, I just needed some exercise in my life. So I was looking for dance classes, and I don't like to exercise, so I was looking for something fun, trick myself into exercising. And I saw an ad for Coco Electric's burlesque classes in Austin in 2011. And that's when I started taking classes, and then from there, I started selling merch for the Jigglewatts, which is my troupe, and then I joined the Jigglewatts as an official member in 2015.
Okay, good. So this is 5 years now that you've been a burlesque performer.
Yep. I actually did my first actual burlesque performance a couple years before that, probably around 2012 or 2013.
But you turned pro.
I went pro in 2015, that's right.
All right, so now that we've established her bona fides and her credentials, I have to ask the question that's on everybody's mind.
Go for it.
What's the deal with pasties?
Well, so women performers, I won't just say women because burlesque performers of all different types have worn pasties, and they started being worn in the 40s and 50s when the blue laws prohibited women from showing their full breast on stage. So as a sort of way to stick it to the man, they started really dressing up the nipple coverings. And a lot of these blue laws are still in existence today. Actually in Texas, there are a lot of places where you technically aren't allowed to even wear pasties. So, there's a lot of regulations about under boob and that kind of stuff, surprisingly, and there's measurements and all that stuff. So yeah, so pasties we wear them now as a callback to retro original burlesque, to classic burlesque. Okay,
yeah. Well, speaking of classic burlesque, who are your influences?
My influences run the gamut. I mean, I was a film major at UT, so I have a lot of influence from classic Hollywood film stars. I really love Veronica Lake, and I love the noir genre. Sunset Boulevard is one of my favorite movies. So I definitely draw a lot of inspiration from the classic Hollywood stars. But I also love, there's some gals back in the day, some burlesque performers from back in the day that like crossed over into film. So there's like Sally Rand, who's the famous feather fan dancer. She originated the fan dance, and she, of course, she was in plenty of films, musicals, and that kind of stuff at the time. So I'm a big fan of the like Busby Berkeley, like big show production, epic, that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of big show and big shot, tell me the story behind you becoming named Miss Burlesque God.
Oh, that's a funny story. Well, I became, so far, the one and only Burlesque God. And what that means is that I actually, burlesque can be performed to all kinds of music, not just classic jazz and big band and that kind of stuff, but metal, as it turns out, as well. And a good friend of mine who joined the Gigawatts at the same time as me, Lena DeLuna, she owns a production company, burlesque production company called Vava Doom Productions, and they put on the Texas Metal, Burlesque, and Variety Festival. So last year, I sort of, kind of showed up on a whim. Lena's my friend, so I was like, sure, I'll be in your show. Like, thanks for asking. I don't really have a metal act, but she asked me to do my Living on a Prayer act, which I'm from New Jersey, so I got a Jersey. I got to do a little Bon Jovi, and I won. I couldn't believe it. It was like they were. First of all, there were so many other acts that were much more metal than mine. And then when they were calling through the names, they announced my name, and I literally did that thing where I was like, me? You can't be serious. Like, that you must have read that wrong. That's how I became the Burlesque God 2019.
Excellent. Great story. You travel extensively with the Gigawatts. Mm-hmm. What are some of the most memorable road travel event stories that you can share?
Oh my gosh.
Or even better, the ones you can't share.
Oh man, there's a few that I can't share. I guess I'll tell you about the infamous night at Frankie's Tiki Room in Las Vegas.
Frankie's.
It was my very first tour in, I'm gonna say probably 2014, maybe 2015, somewhere around there, a couple years ago. And I had never been to a tiki bar before, ever. And we drove to Las Vegas, which is like, I can't remember where we were to start out with, but we drove and we got to Vegas at like 10 p.m. And then we were staying with burlesque legend Tiffany Carter, who is just, she's one of the original burlesque beauties from the 60s and 70s. We stayed at her place. We got in and we were like, let's go out. So, because we didn't have any days coming up where we could go out. So we were like, let's go out. So we all got dolled up and we got to Frankie's probably at like, midnight or 1 or something like that. Like, it was already really late. Yeah, it was already really, really late by the time we got there. And I remember I didn't even drink any tiki drinks. I just drank rum and Coke all night because that's all I knew. Like, I didn't know any tiki drinks. I didn't know what tiki was. I literally had no idea what tiki was. And so I drank rum and Cokes all night, and they must have been really heavy pours because, like, I don't remember too much about the inside of Frankie's. I remember, like, the ladies' room was really not tiki, and then I was like, it was one of those moments that really takes you out of it. But then, if you've ever been to Frankie's, you'll know that their parking lot is only semi-paved. It's, like, paved at one point in time. So it's like very craggly and gravelly, and I was wearing, big platform shoes, and we opened the front door to the Frankie's, and it must be, the sun's coming up, so it's probably 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and we're trying to like stumble to our van. We have a sober, we have a designated driver, and we're just all, I think there was 5 of us, and we were trying to get to the van, and it was just, I don't know any other way to say it besides it was just shit show. It was a total shit show. Like, I fell, a couple other members of the troupe fell, We're like crawling into the van, trying to get in there, and we're like giggling and laughing the whole time, and we're like, let's stop it, get burgers, So that was my first tiki bar experience, and it happened on tour.
Just stack you up like cordwood and just haul you back.
Oh my gosh, it was pathetic.
That's good. That's great. Well, there's another aspect of your career that you're just starting. You are turning professional mermaid. Tell us about this.
What does that even mean, right?
What? You get to define it.
That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, there's plenty of people out there who are professional mer people to begin with. So I'm trying to, look to the people that I admire. There's a gal who performs at the Rec Bar in Fort Lauderdale.
Medusa Arena.
Yeah, Medusa Arena. Yeah, so I was blanking on her name. And that's what I would like to be like. She's sort of like this cross between mermaid and burlesque and tiki and all this stuff. And I really like the way that she, makes them all intersect. So I would sort of, I'm leaning more towards the adult parties type situation, not like adult parties, but not kids parties.
You've got to qualify that.
Yeah, right, yeah, but not kids parties. I would love to do like pool parties and that kind of stuff, so we'll see what comes of it. I'm building a tail, constructing a tail right now out of neoprene. It's slow going because I am individually sewing on around 300 neoprene scales. Yeah, and it is going to take a long time.
That's dedication.
I'm getting there.
Well, that's what Hannah Mermaid does.
Really?
She's a professional mermaid. She makes all of her tails herself.
Wow. There's so many different methods. This is just my first time making a tail, so it might not turn out. It might not work. I don't know if it'll work, but it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. So I think this is a good time to do it, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, share your social media. How can people, our audience, all 6 of them, find you?
One of them's me.
You have good taste. How can people find you online?
So you can find me on Instagram at MISS something blue, Miss Something Blue. You can also find I have a new mermaid Instagram, so if you want to look up the Moon Tower Mermaid, you can find me there on Instagram as well. And I'm also on Facebook under Something Blue. You can like my fan page or add me as a friend as long as you're cool. Yeah, I don't really do Twitter. I have a Twitter, but I never use it. So.
Okay. And whenever the COVID pandemic subsides, Gigglewatts will be back to doing regular monthly shows.
Yes, hopefully. Who knows what the world is going to be like after all this is over. Our venue is an event space, so if they can't, they're obviously not having events right now. So we're hoping that they will make it through this okay, and that we'll still have a venue when this is all over. But that is something that is starting to come up now, is that it has already been difficult to find a good venue in Austin, and I think it's going to get even more difficult after this.
Wasn't that a lot of fun? I had a blast, and I knew you'd enjoy it. But I know what you're thinking. Right now, you're saying to yourself, okay, that was all fine and good, but what about this photo session Jamie's teased over and over again throughout the episode? We haven't seen any goods. Never fear, I'm not one to leave you hanging. Sit back, maybe fix yourself your favorite cocktail, and enjoy a behind-the-scenes sneak peek of Miss Something Blue and Secrets by Miss Lisa working their magic together. Until next time, aloha.